Hi, friends. Welcome back to Mark's Minis, and I am really excited to welcome back to our show David Powell. Now, David is a master level artist in our space, has published a lot of spectacular work on social media, and what I'm really excited to promote today is that he's teaching classes in our local area. KublaCon Gaming Convention is coming up in Burlingame, California, and I'm so excited because I've taken some classes myself recently, and I've just been so pleased with my jump in progress of my painting skills. You know, one of the themes of this channel is that I go to classes and I share what I learn. So let's talk to David today, and we're going to get a tip from him about painting and just have a quick rundown of all the fun we're going to have at KublaCon coming up.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So yeah, it's been a fun year painting. I saw you at Yvonne's class here in the Bay Area, so it was really cool to see. I think we had I don't know what, 20, 25 people there. Yeah, so it was really great to see that so many engaged Bay Area painters at the class. It was a lot of fun. And then obviously we'll get into it probably a little bit more with the classes, but I ended up commissioning a figure this year. So kind of went through the whole process from creating a concept for the figure, getting some concept art, and then actually getting the figure sculpted and printed, and now I'm finally painting it. And so it's been a really cool journey to create my own piece for a change.
Terrific. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. So yeah, lots going on in that field. The whole space of 3D printing is continuing to explode over the last year. And one of the things that has come about is a lot of people are painting busts, and more busts are coming out. Busts are getting more popular. People are figuring out that when you practice painting on a bust, you've got more area to work with.
Yeah, I know a lot of people also, you have a lot of fun painting the face and maybe painting a bit of the torso, and then painting the feet. People get a little bit bored by that time and painting the pants. And so some of the stuff that kind of seems to drag on with the bust, it's not a big deal. You just kind of paint the stuff that you're most interested in, and then get to move on to the next project.
Yeah, another advantage is you get to focus really specifically, especially if you're teaching a class. You've got a bust and you can really focus just on what you want to do. You're focusing on skin tones, or maybe, like, for example, just recently, non-metallic metal. Speaking of bust, you're probably going to show us a bust that you're going to be working on in your upcoming class, which I have signed up for, my friend. So
I'm excited to have you there.
Give us a teaser. What are we going to be working on?
So I commissioned a tiefling bust. I just started painting the full figure, so I'm only about through the head and some of the hair, and there's another arm here that I will attach a little bit later. But this is the figure for my main bust class, and then in addition, I've got a smaller version of it. That's kind of a reduced scale version where it's really just the head and a little bit of the torso, and we'll be doing a class focused on painting fantasy skin tones. So last year I taught a class on regular skin tones, so how do you do human skin, elf, dwarf, and so on. But what if your skin is blue or green or red or any other color of the rainbow? How do you now approach skin when it's not a normal human skin color? And so I'm really excited to explore that in a class as well.
And I am actually really excited to explore that too. And one reason is there's been a new line of paints that has come out, and you've probably heard about it, War Painter Fanatics. And I went crazy. I went all in. And the reason is the way they organize their triads, right? So they're clearly labeled each color, and you've got basically, they're set up in double triads. So if I want to do a human skin tone, all the shading and all the highlighting are there pre-mixed for me. So really looking forward to that, my friend.
Yeah, it should be a good way to approach it.
Yeah, I mean, as a intermediate painter, we're always looking for cheats, hacks, crutches, something to help us get to the next level. So I'm really looking forward to giving that a try. So yeah, a lot of really fun and exciting stuff coming up. So looking forward to KublaCon. Another hot topic in our space, David, is object source lighting, OSL. And I understand you've got a new class. This is a new class you're going to be teaching at KublaCon?
Yeah, so I'll be doing the two classes on the bust, and then the third class I'm doing is on OSL. And people probably have seen that a lot, but may not necessarily know what does OSL mean? What is this all about? And so, basically it's object source lighting, which means that there's some object in your scene that's going to be a source for light. Actually, about 10 years ago is when I did my first real foray into OSL, and
I remember
we'll get a better picture of this for you. And so it's a little hobbit with a lantern, and so the lantern is providing the main light source for the scene rather than your traditional overhead zenithal light. And there are a lot of applications for this: glowing swords, plasma guns, or glowing eyes, and it's a really cool technique to sort of have handy. You can use it on a lot of miniatures, whether it's like this one, the main focus of the scene, or just a little detail you want to add to spice up your painting.
Sure,
so we'll have a class.
I've dabbled a little bit with OSL. My main crutch has been the airbrush. So I very carefully and with a lot of fear factor, add some lighting from my airbrush after everything's painted already. It's kind of terrifying,
Right.
actually. So that's going to be an awesome class. I believe you've got some action at Nova Open as well. Go ahead and tell us about your class lineup at Nova Open. That's a big convention on the East Coast.
Right. Yeah. So for anyone who's not in the Bay Area or misses out, I'll be teaching a lot of these classes again at Nova. So this is in DC, end of August, beginning of September, kind of that last weekend there. And yeah, so I'll be repeating the large bus class. I think that's currently already sold out for Nova.
Wow.
That one went real fast. But I'm going to be repeating the Faces class, the Fantasy Skin Tone class, and that one still has a few seats available. And I'll be doing a few classes I did last year at Kubla. So I'll be teaching the regular Faces and Skin Tone class and the freehand class. And that'll be at Nova this year.
Very exciting, very exciting. Great stuff.
Going to a convention, even if you don't feel like you're good enough to compete yet, just go. Put something in the case, because the interaction with all the other painters there is going to help you level up.
That's another point I wanted to bring up, and thank you for segue that for me. Yes, I'm actually submitting some pieces for judging this year. I'm really looking forward to offering my piece up for judging and getting the rundown from master level artists. How do I take it from here?
And the great thing about KublaCon especially is the way they do the judging there, and the open system of judging. You really are just competing against yourself. It's a set level. There's not just a single first, second, third. And so it really lets you track your progress from year to year. The first year you go, maybe you get a bronze, and you can be very proud and happy with that. And then maybe next year you try for a silver. And then later on you try for a gold. And you can really see yourself moving up and kind of chart your progress there. And so I think it's a really, really cool way of doing competition.
For sure. Do some competition. Offer your pieces up for judging, and that's really get some good feedback, help you get to the next level.
Definitely.
So yeah, David, for sure, the object source lighting, that is a hot topic in our space, and I'm sure I'm going to be using a lot of it going forward as I explore the Mythic Battles Ragnarok Kickstarter that I've got all this plastic to paint up. And really looking forward to using my newly acquired skills and the new paints coming out to tackle that. And from what I understand, look at this piece. You sent me some pictures. Look at this beautiful piece. We've got a scene that's obviously in the cold. I see some snow on the base. Tell us a little bit about this piece and, set the scene for us and maybe give us a tip. How did you give us this look, make it look cold? How are you describing the feeling of cold to us in this model?
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, this is a Torre sculpt. It's a bit of an older sculpt, but I always loved this piece and wanted to paint it. And yeah, my just thought was he looks cold, just the way his emotions are, his pose. And so I initially always envisioned a winter theme for him. And yeah, we talk about color temperature, warm colors, reds, oranges, yellows. And then you've got cold colors and more of your blues and green can be kind of either, can be warm or cold and purples. And so, if you are approaching a cold piece, trying to play with those colors and use cold colors to really reinforce that cold feel to it. And one of the ways you can do that is, let's say you have your triads and you're going to paint it, with your green triad. Take some blue, take some cold color, and introduce it into each of those colors. So, and if you're working with a mixes and you want to come back to it later, say, oh, maybe I'll, for my shadow, I'll do 50-50. Take whatever my shadow triad is and, do 1-to-1 ratio of that and a blue. But then even into the midtones and those highlights, just introduce a certain amount of blue into all of that to help kind of cool things down.
A lot of my friends are going to be so interested in working with cool colors, cold tones, because we're digging into Mythic Battles Ragnarok. It's all Norse mythology. I think there's going to be snow on almost every base in that entire set. So, yeah, we're definitely going to be using a lot of blue going forward.
Yeah, and everywhere, even if you're painting brown leathers, just put some blue in there. And even though it still looks like brown, it when it's done across the whole mini, it's going to help read the whole thing as cold.
We've cooled it down, yes. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Excellent tip. Well, thanks so much, David. It's been, as always, a great pleasure to talk with you, and I'm so looking forward to KublaCon. And my friends on the East Coast, be on the lookout for Nova Open. Again, awesome ways to increase your painting skills. Take classes, get some pieces into competition, and you just won't look back.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to see you in class.
Yeah, same here, my friend. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for watching, friends. Links to the tickets and events described are in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe, because we are diving into Mythic Battles Ragnarok, a huge Norse mythology set, and we're diving in with the Army Painter speed paints and war paints and some other surprises along the way. It's going to be awesome fun. I look forward to sharing my work with you.